Hi, and welcome to Normal Gossip. I'm Kelsey McKinney. In each episode of this podcast, we're going to bring you an anonymous morsel of gossip from the real world. Today, I am so excited to have with me Hannah Giorgis. Hannah is a staff writer at The Atlantic. Her criticism and reporting have appeared in publications including the New York Times Magazine, The Guardian, Travel and Leisure, Taste Cooking, and Pitchfork. She also co-wrote Ida B. the Queen, The Extraordinary Life and Legacy of Ida B. Wells, a dedication to the pioneering American journalist and advocate, with Wells's great-granddaughter Michelle Dester. Hannah's short stories have appeared in the Lifted Brow Literary Journal, Spook Magazine, and the Addis Ababa Noir Anthology, where her story, A Double-Edged Inheritance, was shortlisted for the 2022 AKO Kane Prize for African Writing. Hannah, one, hell yeah, incredible bio. Two, welcome.
Thank you. That was deeply embarrassing to sit through, but I'm thrilled to be here nonetheless.
Well, that's the goal. You know, we try to embarrass all of our guests first off and just really get them into the spirit. Yes, How are you doing?
You know what? I'm great. This pollen cannot get me down. I'm here.
You're a survivor?
I am. I'm going to get some local honey later and feel great, I'm sure.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Okay. Hannah told me beforehand that she went to the South and got, just attacked by some Southern pollen. So yes. You're really brave for being here today. And I appreciate you.
Nobody is braver than me. Yes.
Not one person. Do you want to start me off with our first classic question and tell me what your relationship is with gossip?
I can. I sure can.
The listeners who have not heard this answer at the DC show are dying. Yes, they have to know.
And it's great. It's so much easier to say this without my mom in the audience.
Yeah, luckily this podcast is private, so she'll never hear.
Oh, yeah, never. So I don't know if you know, but I grew up in an Ethiopian household.
What?
I know. This is really shocking information. So yeah, breaking that here. But I grew up experiencing gossip as something that in particular women do as a method of social connection, right? As a thing to do while you're making coffee, which is a sort of very involved process, and the men are kind of in the other room discussing politics, which is also gossip, that just doesn't get called gossip.
Yeah, it's just a different kind.
Right. But there was simultaneously also, I think, kind of a moralization around it, especially like in super like Christian and kind of churchy spaces, right? Like we don't talk about people, even though I think the basis of a lot of social conversations surrounding churches is in fact deeply moralizing and deeply like gossip driven, right? So it was simultaneously a thing that I knew to be this like powerful and sort of lovely and lighthearted way of connecting with other people, and also demonized as being kind of inherently evil.
I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I am extremely white.
What?
I know, it's crazy. It's wild. But you started off by saying that you grew up in an Ethiopian household. Were both of those morals that you were obtaining, both from the Christian side and the Ethiopian side, happening in the same room at the same time?
Because I went to Ethiopian church. Right. So like everything was really enmeshed, right? So like the people that you're going to like graduations and birthday parties and yada yada for are often the same people who you see either at your church or at like one of two other Ethiopian churches kind of in the area. So everything was sort of hyper connected. And I think in a lot of ways, what Ethiopian people, at least in the diaspora, tend to think of as like quote unquote Ethiopian culture is really driven by certain kinds of like Christian or sort of like Abrahamic ways of relating to each other, right? And that's not fully true, but it is, I think, a shorthand that a lot of people use.
So how did that kind of like conflict play out, where you have people both using gossip as a connective tool and at the same time kind of with the other side of their face saying like this is a immoral problem?
Right. It made it so that gossip was something that was used, and my mom did this a lot, as gossip was framed as okay if it's being used to impart a lesson, right? So she would sort of do...
That's what, actually, this is a moral podcast. Right. It's about learning the morals of life. So I agree.
This is a good place as a podcast. So she would do a lot of like, so somebody we know, I won't tell you who, their son, da-da-da-da-da, and there was always some sort of neat moral at the end of it, which is like, this is why you should stay close to your family. Because this thing happened to this person. I'm not going to tell you who it was, even though I'm going to give you like some details that if you sat down for 2 minutes and kind of had some red string would quickly figure out who it is, right?
Yeah.
But because this is being framed as like a teaching tool, a parable, right? Like that it's fine. It's not talking about people. It's sort of, teaching your kids how to show up in the world. And for me, that was always really frustrating, especially the older I got, because I wanted the story. I want the narrative. I want to know the key players. I want to know what created the scene. I don't want to get to the moral of it. I actually don't care about the moral at all.
Moral schmoral.
And so naturally, of course, I would like make a game of like trying to figure out who the people were and be like, is it this person? Is it that? Will you tell me if I get?
Yeah, obviously.
And that was really, I imagine that was extremely annoying to deal with. Love her so much. Love you, Mom.
Yes, we love you. I'm sorry that you had to go through that struggle of trying to figure out who those people were. That sounds extremely difficult for you.
Nobody is braver than me.
Everyone is saying that all the time.
I know.
So has your relationship with gossip changed since then?
Yes.
You're not asking all your friends, like, but what's the moral? What's
I
the
know,
moral
I don't
here?
leave with that. No. No, I do. I still really, really value and appreciate the narrative, kind of separate of the moral element, right? So to me, it's like how deeply and how richly can my friend tell this story about this thing that happened? So like some of my favorite gossip is gossip that has absolutely nothing to do with me. So, or like that has nothing to do with the person who I'm telling it to, right?
Yeah, it's true. This is a little bit of a diversion from our gossip talk, but it's important to talk about your passions on your podcast. Yes. And a passion that you and I share is for Facebook Marketplace.
Yes.
And I would just like to talk about it briefly, like why you love it.
Yes.
First, tell the people why we are Facebook Marketplace heads, the two of us.
It's just so weird. Okay, so there's a practical reason I love it, right? Which is that like in a city like New York, which is where I live, people are always moving, and because people are always moving, they're always trying to offload their stuff and kind of pricing it at sort of ridiculously low prices that you just would not, right? So there's the like practical, I'm a person who does not want to pay $1 million to furnish an apartment element, right? And also the sort of like sustainability, it does feel nicer to do a small part in helping this planet not be on fire as rapidly. But there's just something deeply strange about it too, right? There's like sometimes people post stuff, and I do this with my friends a lot, where I'll just send them a link to something, and like I have no interest in getting it. I don't think they should get it, but I'm like, what went on here? What does the rest of this space look like? I want to know who got this, what they had it for, why they're getting rid of it. And sometimes people actually do put that stuff in the description. Sometimes like there will be a rare sort of like juicy moment here or there where somebody will like be posting like a ring and will be like, I don't need it anymore. Here, yes. I hope somebody has a better experience with it than I did. And you see that kind of stuff for like rings, dresses, but also stuff that's like completely mundane. I don't know. I feel like I've seen people do that with like a nightstand, but like my like cheating ex got me this, and so now it has to go. And I'm like, oh, okay. I could have just known, the specs, but sure. Like, that's fine.
The first of the things that I saw on Facebook Marketplace this week that I have written down to tell you about is that I saw a woman on Facebook Marketplace giving away an entire collection of sports jerseys.
Yes.
Like 100 sports jerseys.
Yep.
And the description was like, it was a picture of each sports jersey. And the description was like, come get them in the next 3 hours, no questions asked. And I was like, oh,
there's a story there. And I have questions.
I'm like, what? What happened here?
I feel like sometimes it's a little, I think we could write some of those stories ourselves. But sometimes you can't, and you need to know. And you can never ask people.
I recently bought a lamp from a woman, and she brought it to me, and she said that her new partner moved in and said that the lamp had bad vibes.
Sometimes lamps have bad vibes.
I was like, but why?
Don't question it.
But now I have the lamp. It doesn't seem to have bad vibes to me, so maybe I'm wrong. But today's story does have a furniture connection, so that's why we're doing this. But I also just thought it would be fun. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say about Facebook Marketplace or our adventures in thrifting?
Yeah, it's where I always see gossip chairs. Have we talked about gossip benches?
We have, but I haven't on the show. Okay. So let's discuss them.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with them.
Me too. There's no place in my apartment for me to put one. And also I think it's like pretty impractical to actually have in my home.
Also, some of them are very expensive.
Yes.
Which is Interesting.
Yes.
Sorry, describe the gossip benches for the people who may not know.
Yeah, so it's just like if you take the kinds of desks that you might have sat at in elementary school where like there's, you know, a surface, a table directly in front of the seat that's like attached. A gossip bench sort of takes that and just puts it to the side of the seat instead of in front of you. So the idea being that, you know, you sit down on the chair and then can like rest your arm on the attached little table that also has your rotary phone and, you know, the notepad or whatever where you're taking notes.
You can do your gabbing.
Yeah. And it's all right there for you. But they're very cute. And I'm constantly getting like little Victorian gossip chairs in my
They're so
in my feed.
cute.
I love them. Again, no place to put it, deeply impractical.
If anyone has any ideas of things to do with them, please tell us
Yes.
because we would like to use them.
Yes.
But I like them too because were clearly so practical for so long,
Yes.
right? Like they have a slot for the phone book
Yes.
in them, which I find adorable.
Yes.
And I'm like, I want it. I want a phone book. But then also I have a cell phone.
Correct.
So.
And I'm like, what would it look like to innovate around the way that we gossip now? I don't know.
Ooh,
Are there some designers
that's a fun
who can
question.
tell us? What can we? What's a modern
Is that
version
like
of this?
is the modern version of innovating around the way we gossip now just those like weird things that clip onto something and hold your phone for you?
Oh God, it might be.
Like maybe.
I feel like we can do better than that. Something a little more luxurious.
Hannah, would you like to do some gossip?
I
Are you
would
ready to
love
move
to.
on from all this furniture chat to more furniture
Yes.
chat?
Yes, gossip furniture. Let's go.
For today's gossip story, we are going West Coast, baby, like
Hell yeah.
California, big sun, big ocean, sky high rents.
Let's go. Tapping into my Anaheim roots.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
Our friend of a friend, we'll call her Malia.
Okay, Malia.
She lives in a big West Coast city.
Sure.
She has one of those jobs for the city that has a name like comptroller, where it's like important, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
Which means she works all the time
Right.
and is not paid very well.
Right. Deeply unsexy.
Yes. She makes like enough money to make rent, but not enough money to like go on vacation.
Right.
Is this relatable to you?
Oh, been there. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And you would want that from a job where you're working in the city.
I certainly would. From having to say comptroller all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And this was like fine for a little while, but now she has a baby. She has this cute little baby.
Oh.
His name is Ezra.
Ezra.
And this has made like her job working for the city harder than before because she and her partner Irma never sleep.
Okay.
They love Ezra so much, but now they're like back at work. It's exhausting.
Right.
It's like true second shift problem.
Babies are tough.
It really is. One day, Malia is feeding Ezra. She's like playing Sudoku on her phone when her phone rings.
Okay.
And the phone says Ronnie at the top.
Uh-oh.
But Malia knows, like in her heart, that she's not supposed to call her Ronnie anymore. She's supposed to call her Veronica.
Oh, I was hoping that's where we were going. Yes. Okay.
Why?
A story where, like, we got a Veronica who goes by Ronnie. I'm already in. First of all, also so much better than if it had been Ronald, then it would have been a man. That's no fun. It's great. Ronnie, Veronica, I'm in.
Veronica is Malia's cousin.
Okay.
They were like thick as thieves growing up, right?
Cool.
Like always playing pranks on the other cousins, always like begging to spend the night at each other's houses. Neither of them had sisters, and because they like lived in the same metro area, they were like each other's sisters,
Adorable.
right?
Yeah.
They played on the same little league team. They went to each other's proms. They studied for exams together. They went to the same prestigious state school.
Okay. Besties.
Besties.
I'm in.
On the drive up to state school, freshman year, Ronnie looks at Malia and is like, I want to be called by Veronica now.
Okay.
And I want to lie about what neighborhood we grew up in.
Oh. Okay.
Why are you making that face?
I just have questions. You know, why? To what end? For whomst?
Yes. Would you have done it?
Maybe as a bit.
We love a bit.
Like, I'm not going to say no immediately. But I can't guarantee that I'll stick to it.
Malia was like, why? Right? And Ronnie was like, well, I just think we'll have more opportunities at state school if we are like a little vague about like where we came from.
Sure. I mean, vague and lying are different things. I can endorse vague.
Yeah. And Malia was like, she's my best friend. She's my cousin. I love her. Whatever. Like, if she's lying, I'm lying with her.
Right.
That's how this works.
Right.
And honestly, this was fine. People thought that Ronnie and Malia had more money than they did, which was pretty helpful. They got into a fancier sorority. They made, like, new friends. The world, like, opened before them. Like, you know, when you come around the turn and the ocean is right in front of you, right? Yeah. So it goes. Their last year of college, Ronnie started dating this guy.
Oh, all the way through college. Okay.
All the way through college.
Wow, that's impressive. I'm not good at lying, so I would have abandoned that after, like, orientation week. But
I would have made it, like, 4 days max before I got outed for, like, 100%. Not knowing a normal brand.
Exactly.
Last year of college, Ronnie starts dating this guy. He seemed, like, totally normal, right? Kind eyes, very sweet demeanor. He was always trying to set Malia up with his sisters, which she found, like, very cute but also annoying.
Right.
He's always talking about the amount of money they have to pay for things in a way that, like, Malia thought made it seem like he was trying to seem richer than he was.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like, he's always talking about, like, how much he works and how he changes his own oil and, like, all of this stuff.
Sure.
Rugged and Malia was just like,
got it.
Exactly. And Malia was just, like, rolling her eyes at this, but, like, whatever. Ronnie seemed happy. They seemed really happy together.
I guess.
It wasn't until they got married, Ronnie and this guy, like, several years after college, that Malia realized he wasn't pretending to be richer than he was. He was pretending to be poorer than he was.
I hate him.
This man was, like, rich.
I was already ready to name him the antagonist of the story, just on principle, honestly, but I'm digging in. Okay.
Tell me why.
Because he's a man.
Like, why
was
were
the first
you
man's name you
okay.
said. Yeah. So there's
well,
that.
He doesn't have a name because I didn't give him
You're
that
right.
dignity in the story.
Thank you. Look at all the space he's already taking up in my head. As though he had one.
I know.
No, because it seemed like he was going to get between... If the lying didn't get between the two of them, then it seems like something had to, and it's got to be this man. So I'm strapped in.
This man is so rich. Like, very rich. Which means that Veronica is now also, like, rich. Have you ever, like, had this dynamic in your life where you were forced to interact or via family or other means with someone who is much wealthier than you?
Yeah. That was my college experience.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a thing. And that was actually my first thought when you said he always mentions how much stuff costs, because I think that it's a uniquely rich person thing to do, to send you the Venmo request for like $5 or to, right?
Yes.
And I've certainly dealt with and experienced a lot of that, which makes my teeth itch.
I don't know. I feel like it took me so long to figure that out, right? Like, there were people I thought made the same amount of money as me until, like, my mid-20s. Then only later was I like, oh, no, you're playing a very different game. So I understand how she made it so far.
Sure.
The problem is Veronica forgot what it was like to make a normal amount of money almost immediately.
Oh, sure.
And so this is the divide between them. It's not really him. It's that she, like, doesn't have to have a super real job anymore and doesn't pay rent and doesn't, like, really live in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Malia still, like, loves Veronica, but, like, with every passing year, they're, like, a little further apart.
Yeah, how could they not be? Sure.
So she's feeding the baby. Ronnie is calling. Do you answer the phone?
How late is it?
It's a normal time.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's a thing to do. I'll answer the phone.
Okay. Malia, it's like, I'm just playing Sudoku. Why not? So she answers her phone. They chat for a few minutes before Veronica gets to, like, clearly the point of her calling. And she's like, my husband and I are going abroad for Labor Day for, like, a whole week.
Love that. Sure.
She's like, do you want to come stay at my house and, like, plant sit and stay in my fancy house?
Are there conditions? I feel like conditions are coming.
You have to plant sit.
Oh, sure.
Malia is like, Ronnie, I have a job. Like, I can't just, like, go stay in your house for a week. And Ronnie is like, you never take a vacation. You are always working. You have a baby.
Yeah.
And Malia's like, yeah, I don't have money for vacations. Like, I can't just take a vacation. And Ronnie is like, yes, that is why I am offering you my big house for a week with a pool.
Right. I'd hope there was a pool. Yeah.
Would you like to do this? What do you think?
I would like to do it. I love to spend time for free in rich people's homes without them there.
Same. We are available, actually, both of us.
Anybody is rich and has a home that they need plants cared for in.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'd like to visit Maine. Yes. I don't know about you.
Yeah, Maine is lovely.
Go see it.
I've driven through Maine.
Malia is like, let me talk to Irma. Like, I'm interested, but like, let me run it by my partner. So she talks to Irma, like clearly with reservations, because she's like, has this little chip on her shoulder, right? She's like, I don't know about staying at my like cousin's house. Da, da, da. And Irma is like, no, fuck yeah, we're going to that house. Like, I'm going to call out of work.
Absolutely.
You're being crazy. We're going. So Malia calls Ronnie back and is like, we're interested. Like, we'll do it if you'll still have us. And Ronnie's like, excellent.
Great.
If you just like come over the Friday before Labor Day, I can give you like the walkthrough where everything is. You'll be ready to go. Perfect. Do you have any feelings at this point?
Well, based on what we know about the nature of this podcast, things are going to get chaotic. So I'm anticipating that. But if I'm in there... But that's, sort of a meta response. If I'm in their position at this point, I'm just excited. Mostly, yeah, like 99% excited.
Yeah, so Malia and Irma and Ezra, their whole little fam, they have to leave like kind of early on Friday afternoon because there is so much traffic to get to where Ronnie lives. Because where Ronnie lives is by the ocean.
Right.
There's all this traffic because you're going to the beach, right? It's beach season. It's Labor Day.
Forever.
The closer they get, the more like amped they're becoming, because they're like, it's so beautiful, right? Like everything is nice out here. It smells like salt, right? Like it's great. From the outside, the house is like kind of unassuming. Like think like 1-story ranch style.
Oh yeah. No,
with
I
like
know.
a door in the
big
middle.
California house. Things are coming. I'm excited.
Ronnie opens the front door. And through the front door, they can see to the back of the house, which is all windows, which look right out over the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, my God.
And it is like multiple stories of glass window, right?
God.
So you're coming in on 1 story, but then there are like 2 more stories, and they all have windows that face the ocean.
Okay. Sometimes I understand wealth hoarding.
This house is so nice. Like, it's so nice. And in that kind of way where it's like, things look like they might be normally priced, but they absolutely
There's not
are
a chance. Yeah.
It's like, oh, this looks like a regular sectional.
Correct.
Looks totally regular.
Right.
Fabric's even a bit distressed. It's $25,000, right? Like
the curtain tassel costs $500. Yeah. And yeah.
Yes.
Because it's custom. Why it needs to be, I don't know, but it's custom.
Exactly. The dining table is like one big slab of wood.
Of course it is. It's redwood, isn't it? Like it just, yeah.
It seats like 16.
It's live edge. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You, as a furniture girly, can you imagine other things that might be in this house?
Oh, gosh. Like, well, it depends on the ambiance.
What are the options for ambiance here? And I'll tell you which one we have.
I'm like, are we going like minimal coastal chic? Are we going sort of mid-century modern, but a little coastal?
Yeah, I think it's like mid-century modern, but a little coastal, right? But make it California.
Okay. Right. So I'm seeing like very strategically placed cane and like rattan.
Yes.
Like not a lot. Not a lot. That would be
But
tacky.
just the back of one chair.
A little bit, yes. A little bit here and there that just says, we know where we are geographically. This is cute. This is an homage. Oh, gosh. What else? Chairs, obviously custom to go with the table. I feel like photos and art are key. Very minimal, but again, definitely super expensive. And I'm really curious about the coffee table situation.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Huh.
Because I'm
seeing
like an oblong oval marble situation with like fluted legs.
That is exactly the vibe.
Like tri-fluted legs.
Yes, and like the coasters match the marble, right? Like it's like a very sleek look.
Exactly.
Yes. Malia has like not been to Ronnie's in a little while because it takes so fucking long to get there. And she has a baby now. And she's like, I'm not sitting in traffic with a baby for an hour to go to your house, right? Like, that's crazy. Why are you making that face?
I think I forgot in my initial enthusiasm about going there for the weekend that they would be bringing a baby because they have a baby.
They do, in fact, have a baby. Yeah.
Which is a very child-free thing of me to have done. Even though you said they have a baby as we were talking about it.
You're like, a weekend at the beach house. Whee!
Perfect. And then now I'm like, oh no, there's going to be a lot of beige and neutrals and ivory and eggshell and alabaster. And guess who doesn't do well with that? Babies. Okay.
That's so true.
Suddenly the anxiety has ratcheted up a little bit.
Okay.
I still think I would have landed at like, you should totally go, but like with reservations.
Yes. One thing that Malia totally forgot about Ronnie's is that there are so many plants at Ronnie's. Think about all those windows, right? Like there are just tons and tons of plants. So as Ronnie is like walking Malia through what she needs to do to sit these plants for a week, Malia is like getting a little overwhelmed.
Of course. I'm sure there's like the biggest fiddle leaf fig you've ever seen in your life.
Yes.
A bird of paradise that looks like it's outdoors.
Yes. Ronnie hands her a binder.
Oh, God. Okay.
Inside the binder are like pictures of the plants and what they look like and descriptions of like how to know if they're sad and ideas for how to help them.
I would find that helpful.
It is very helpful. It's like a little crazy to have this binder.
A little bit. Would I make it? No. But would I be glad to have it in that scenario? Sure.
That is exactly how Malia feels. Malia is like, do I find this a little controlling? Yes. But also I'm scared. And I appreciate that this says, if this plant is yellow, do this.
Correct.
Easy. Most of the plants, pretty straightforward, right? Like basic plant shit.
Right.
But then there are the mounted staghorn ferns. Do you know what these are?
I do.
You do?
I do.
I had to learn what these are, so please.
Ridiculous thing to own. They're just like, okay, so when you think of a fern, you probably think of like a sword fern or like a Boston fern, right? That's kind of your
floppy on the ground.
Floppy on the ground, or like a lot of people have them like hanging in baskets.
Yes.
Right. Like awning of a restaurant. They're outside, creating this cute little vibe. Staghorn. Oh, sorry to any fans of the mounted staghorn fern who are listening, but that is extremely not my shit.
Everybody's got to have a hater. Today, it's both of us.
It's me. I'm your lone hater. Okay, it's both of us. Sorry. You have two haters. It's like, okay, so like think of creepy taxidermy, like a deer, antlers like jutting out of a wooden plaque on the wall. But if somebody was like, okay, that's a little too creepy, let's make it like 45% less creepy. And they put a fern, but like only like part of a fern on it. And so the fern is jutting out at you in a way that feels menacing, even though it's a plant. So in theory, it should not be.
Yes.
That's what I got.
In my research about the staghorn ferns to learn what's up with them, what I learned is they're Australian, and also they're not meant to be in houses. They're meant to be like on a tree, on the side of a tree. So the reason they're mounted is because that's how they're supposed to be, right? Is like on the side of something. But we want to have them in our fancy house. So what they are in is like basically a burlap kangaroo sack that's mounted to a wooden plaque.
Yeah. See, the first moment that they went wrong is looking to domesticize something that grows native to Australia.
It doesn't want to be inside a home. Leave it alone.
It doesn't want to be inside a home. It doesn't want to be on this continent. It's not here. Like, it doesn't have its weird freak of nature animal friends around it.
Kangaroos are not pets. They're not.
Sorry.
They're not meant to be. On top of that, the staghorn fern, I don't know if you know about this, is also like a nightmare to water.
No, I did not know this.
So they have to be watered in two ways. The tops of them have to be misted. The thing I read said that you should use a brass mister if you have that at your availability.
And why?
I don't even know what that is. The other thing is that their tops have to be misted and the bottoms, like the roots, have to be soaked once a week for 5 minutes.
Okay, sure.
So they have to be like removed from these pockets, put into a soaking thing, and then put back.
And of course, this is rich people house, so of course they're impossibly high. I bet you need like a ladder to get to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ronnie shows Malia these plants. She shows her the like 3 pages of instructions in the binder, and Malia's like, "That's so helpful. Thank you."
Oh. Okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm stressed. And also judgy.
You know who else is stressed? It's Irma.
I bet. It's not even her cousin.
Irma is like, "Can I talk to you for a second?" And Malia's like, "Yeah." And Irma's like, "I'm really nervous now that I am seeing how many beige and cream and alabaster things are in this home.
Yeah.
With our dumb baby. Like, what if he breaks something? What if he vomits on the carpet?"
Sure. What if he does anything that babies naturally do because they're babies?
Malia is like, right. "I think that'll be fine. Like, he's a pretty easy baby." She's like not concerned about it. She's like, what I'm concerned about is that there are so many things that need to be done for these plants.
Yeah. That's worrying me more so than the baby, even though I know I expressed 3 minutes ago that I was really worried about the baby.
What do you think? Like, you're in these people's house. They're about to leave for their abroad vacation. It's Friday. You're stressed. What's your move? Like, are you going to stay?
Yes, because I drove that far in traffic, and I have seen the view of the multi-story glass windows out onto the ocean, right? So I'm going to turn my body to look there as I calm down, take a lot of deep breaths, and remind myself that it's a lot, but it's only 1 week. So most things won't need to happen more than once or twice.
Yes.
There's a lot of them, but it's not like a month or, where you sort of have to keep track of a ton of stuff. So even though all of these stupid ferns have to be double watered, that probably only has to happen once per fern if it's once a week.
Exactly. Malia is like, "Irma, how do you feel? Like, what are your feelings? This is at your cousin's house. Like, what do you want to do here?" And she watches Irma, like, look at the view and look at the pool outside.
Yep.
And look at the projection screen that they can watch movies on and go, "I think we should risk it."
I think so too. I think you should pour yourself a glass of wine.
Some of their fancy wine.
Yes. And go sit outside. Yes. And look at the sun and the water.
And of course, in this tour, it's like, here's the fully stocked fridge. Here's the wine fridge, right? Here's all this shit. So Malia's like, the only question we have left is like, where do you want us to put our stuff? Right? Like, which room do you want us to stay in? And Ronnie's like, "Oh, God, I'm so glad you asked. We're, like, redoing the 2 bathrooms in the guest suites. So, like, I'm going to put you in our room in the primary suite."
Oh, I don't love that.
Why?
I think if one is already grappling with feeling out of place and anxious about being, being tasked with caring for someone's space, that the bedroom is particularly intimate to be like an interloper in.
Does it change it's one thing your mind to know that there is a tub that stands by itself by a window that looks at the ocean in the primary suite?
So here's the thing. No, it doesn't change my mind because only because I was already going to get over.
Oh, okay, great.
It was an additional asterisk for me, but I was absolutely going to power through it.
Okay.
That would have made me power through faster.
Okay. Malia has like the same reservations that you have, but is also like, it's a tub big enough to fit my entire adult body. It's a huge tub.
Oh my God. That's luxury.
So she's like, "You know what? We'll get over it." And Ronnie's husband is like, "A little champagne to like toast your week." And they're like, yes, thank you.
Yes.
So everyone's like having their little champagne. They're like, "Have a great holiday." Ronnie's like, "Thanks so much for staying with the plants. It's good to see you." And they are gone.
Great. Party time.
The next day, it's time to swim. They swim. They nap.
I bet there's fancy sunscreen too. I bet it's by the pool.
It smells so good. And there's like, it's one of those houses that has like stairs down to the ocean too. So you can like go look at the ocean and like touch the tide pool and stuff.
Yeah. It's a Nancy Meyers house.
It's literally a Nancy Meyers house. It's so nice. Like the soap smells like amber. The fridge is like stocked with different kinds of water. Like it's
oh my God,
incredible.
I'm going to look up an ivory cardigan to buy myself and live there as we speak.
That night, they're like, let's grill the steaks in the fridge. Like, why not?
There's steaks in the fridge.
There's steaks in the fridge. They go outside. Great. They realize that the gas grill outside is hooked up to a gas line from inside. Like, no propane tank.
Oh, my God.
On Sunday, they're like learning how to use the espresso machine. They're really like they have just like easily transformed, right?
Of course.
They're swimming in the pool. It's like so lovely. They're soaking up the sun, getting dark, getting toasty, feeling so nice.
What a life.
In the afternoon when Ezra is like fussy and needs to be fed, Malia like doesn't even feel bothered by it. She's like, whatever. She's like, I'm living in bliss. I love motherhood, right?
Right. I am woman.
Yeah, work is dead to me.
Right.
This is my life now.
I'm a sun goddess now.
Exactly. She hops out of the pool. She dries off. She takes Ezra like upstairs to the big room. And there's like a big TV up here with a big plush chair. So she like sits down and feeds him. And like the sunlight is so nice. She feels so lucky.
Perfect.
She's like, Ezra falls asleep. She's like, I fall asleep. We take a small nap. We deserve it. They wake up. They go back downstairs. They swim more. Everything Malia thinks is perfect. In the evening, she goes back upstairs to change for dinner because she's rapidly adjusted to her Nancy Meyers lifestyle. And she's like, I need a big white shirt.
Yeah. Who would not?
She rounds the corner in the primary suite and is like, what's that?
Oh, no. No, whatever it is, walk away from it.
Because
enjoy your life, girl.
There's a spot on the chair that she was sitting on earlier. She walks over to it and she's like, oh my God, oh no.
Uh-oh.
Because there is a water stain on the chair. And the water stain is, it's basically a perfect woodblock print of her entire vulva.
Oh, God.
Oh no, she's coughing. She's having a coughing fit.
Yeah, I don't know that I expected us to go from Nancy Meyers to Judy Chicago. But okay.
It's a perfect print.
Okay.
She panics.
Yeah, what else do you do in that scenario?
That's my question for you. What's she supposed to do?
I panic. I panic. I call Irma. Irma panics. We panic together. And then hopefully I panic into a sleep. I don't know. I furiously Google.
Malia is like, dry it. She like uses the towel, tries to dry it off. Nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
She's like, it needs to be dry, right? It's wet. That's the problem. It's just a water stain.
No.
She grabs the blow dryer. Dyson blow dryer out of the bathroom.
Sweetie.
She aims it at the chair. She turns it on.
No.
Some of the fabric dries. But what it does is it just makes the print of her vulva sharper than before.
Set in more, yeah, exactly.
It's not drying.
Yeah.
Irma is like calling her from downstairs because it's time to make dinner. What do you do?
Well, I go downstairs. I try my best to calmly inform Irma of what's happened. And then I ask her to join me in Googling nearby furniture specialists.
Why furniture specialists?
Fabric specialists? I don't know. Somebody, I feel like in an area that bougie, there has to be somebody who at least knows where you could go to have your extremely high-end furniture fixed, not necessarily because of a vulva print, but if things such as prints of any sort were to arise.
The problem here is that Malia has had, I don't know, 3 or 4 glasses of Vino Verde throughout the day.
Right, of course she has. And she's sun exhausted too.
She looks at this print, hears Irma calling her from downstairs and decides now is not the time to deal with this. And
I would say now.
She's
now
like, maybe it'll dry.
It's not going to dry, sweetie.
And she goes downstairs and has dinner. She's like, okay, maybe it'll go away. But it is haunting her the whole dinner, right? It's all she can think about. It has obviously not gone away. She sleeps fitfully. The next morning, it is still there.
Of course it is.
Do you tell Irma?
Yes. What are vows for if not for moments like this?
Malia's like, in sickness and in health, I have something sick. Please come over here.
Yes.
Help.
This is what they were referring to.
Irma is like, oh my God. Like, how did you even do this? And Malia's like, I don't know. I think she was like, I think it's just like I sat on the chair in a slightly damp swimsuit and like,
yeah.
Now this is here.
Right.
And Irma is like, let us Google.
Yes.
They Google, and Google is like, Dawn dish soap and water. Do you think this house has Dawn dish soap?
I don't believe it does.
No, they have organic dish soap. This does not work.
Of course. No, it doesn't. You need the chemicals.
It's like watered down vinegar.
No.
This house has white wine vinegar. They try this. It's
Sherry
like
vinegar.
paper towels, right? No paper towels.
Of course not.
None of this works. What now?
I say a combination of attempting to Google the furniture people, whoever they might be, and perhaps making a store run if there are places nearby-ish that might have Dawn dish soap and regular vinegar.
Irma is like, there is no way this woman does not have maids. There's no way. Irma's like, she has to. So Irma is like, check the binder. Goes to the front of the binder. Sure enough.
I'm showing my tax bracket here.
Yeah. Sure enough, in the binder, it's like, maids come at this time on this day. Mm-hmm. Here is their number. Irma's like, great. She calls the maids. She's like, hello, we have a problem. The maids are like, it is Labor Day.
Oh, yes. Yes.
They're like, we can come by early tomorrow.
All right.
Irma's like, okay. She's like, I vote we don't go get anything from the store and don't touch this anymore because we are clearly not helping.
Right.
So they have, all day Monday. They're pacing by the chair with its perfect little stamp. Nothing to do.
Yeah.
Terrified. Around 4, Irma calls Malia downstairs because one of the plants is droopy.
Okay. Which one is it?
It's a stat corn.
Yeah, I was hoping it would not be that, but of course it is.
Mm-hmm. And they flip through the binder and they're like, so kid?
No.
No?
That doesn't feel right.
Why not?
When was the last time it was soaked?
They don't know that.
Do we know this?
No.
Well, how could they? Okay, see, they should have asked that about every single plant, and I wish they had. I would try misting first.
Okay, they do not do that. They soak it.
Okay.
How are you feeling at this point?
I'm stressed.
You're feeling stressed.
I'm stressed on Labor Day, which feels extra bad.
10 a.m. the next day, the maids arrive.
Okay, great.
And they're like, what's up? What's the problem? And Malia leads them upstairs and into the room, and the chair is like spotlit by the sun, and the maid starts like laughing so hard that she's bent over. She's like supporting herself on the desk. She can't breathe. And the maid is like, is this yours? And Malia's like, yes. And the maid calls the other maid up there. They are laughing and laughing and laughing. The second maid is like, I've seen this before. And Malia is like, what? Here? Yeah. And the maid is like, no. Another client, like, it happens.
Okay.
And Malia's
that's
like,
encouraging.
Malia's like, okay, that's encouraging. What do we do? And the maid is like, no, babe, you're fucked.
Oh, never mind. Adios, encouragement.
Malia's like, no, please. Like, please try anything. What can you try? And the maids are like, okay, we have like a steam cleaner. We have, they have their whole like arsenal.
Yeah. Arsenal, right.
They go through their arsenal. The steam just makes it a little bigger. It's like that pink spot in the Cat in the Hat book. It's just like getting bigger.
Yeah.
But not losing definition, incredibly. It's just,
that's
it's
miraculous.
there.
Okay.
It is now 2 p.m. on Tuesday. The maids have left.
Okay, they gave up. Cool.
They gave up. Malia is walking through the kitchen when she realizes she forgot the plant. It's still in its little soaking tub.
Oh, fuck.
It's drowning.
Oh, my God.
So now you have 2 crises.
Oh, my God.
What would you like to do?
I want to go back to whatever metropolis I came from. And pretend none of this ever happened. Mm-hmm. Okay, immediately go remove the fern from its watery potential death.
Yeah, grave.
Yeah, that's the word.
Where are you going to move it to?
I'm gonna squeeze out the water and try to gently repot it. I don't know where I'm finding potting soil, but I'm gonna find it.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna put it in bright, indirect sun.
Okay. Why indirect?
So not outside, because I feel like that would shock it to have to go from being submerged to having a ton of direct, immediate burning California sun.
What Malia does is she moves it out of the tub and directly into the sun.
Yep. She said, let's go for shock.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said, dry it out.
I get it.
Make it dry.
No, that's not how plants work.
The chair is still not doing well.
Yeah, of course it's not.
What now?
Okay, and then at this point, I go back to Googling the furniture people. I don't know. At this point, I'm probably feeling a little too dejected, but I figure it's worth a shot. So go back to Googling the furniture people, try to make some calls. And then when they invariably don't answer, I feel like I'm then trying to Google the chair just to know how fucked I am financially.
Irma is like, we will find a furniture restorer. This is a big metropolis full of rich people. They exist. We are going to take this chair to someone. Irma's doing all her little calls, right? Call. She finally finds someone that's like, okay, bring the chair in and we'll look at it. We open tomorrow at noon. They're like, great. So the next day, the three of them sit in traffic for 1,000,000 years to get this car to the upholsterer. They unload it from the back of the car, and the woman at the upholsterer chokes on her water. She's like, whose is this?
Right. Who does that belong to?
And Malia's like, it is mine. And the upholsterer is like, they're very beautiful. Thank you. And Malia's like, yeah, get your jokes in, but can you fix this?
Right. Can you joke while you fix it?
Yeah, the upholsterer is like, I genuinely don't know. I need to look at it more closely and see what's going on here.
Oh my God.
How are you feeling?
Oh God, I'm feeling like I'm sitting through a twisted pap smear. Christ.
That's just the kind of review that we like to hear on this podcast. Thank you. They get back into the house and Irma is like, Malia, what's happening here? Because the plant, which has been left outside since yesterday, is struggling.
Of course it is.
It is limp, but also burnt on the ends.
Oh, yeah.
The sun has not helped the damp at all.
No, it hasn't.
Malia is frantically flipping through the binder when her phone rings and it's Ronnie. Do you answer it?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Why?
Because I need some time. And there's any number of reasons why somebody wouldn't answer their phone that are not, hello, I have fucked up your plant and your chair. I avoid it and buy myself a little bit of time.
Okay, I like that plan. Malia is like, I'm going to answer it because there's no way she could know.
She'll hear it in your voice, but okay. Carry on.
Malia answers it and Ronnie is laughing hysterically. And Ronnie's like, did you stamp your vagina onto my chair? And Malia's like, did the maid tell you? And she's like, no, my neighbor took her couch in to get reupholstered and was like, this looks like Ronnie's chair.
Oh my God.
Because the upholsterers had left it out.
Oh my God. At this point, I throw myself into the ocean.
You're just, it's time for a death.
Not even a death necessarily, but a dramatic, you know what I mean? A little Ophelia, but pause right before the, we walk it back.
Yeah.
But
just try it on for size.
Exactly. Just do it for the story real quick and then kind of come back. That's what I'm doing. I'm pulling an Ophelia here.
Malia is like, I'm so sorry. Ronnie on vacation in a great mood is laughing hysterically. She's like, this is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. She's like, how did you do that? And Malia's like, honestly, I have no idea.
Right.
I have no idea.
It's never happened before. Okay.
Never happened. And
sure.
Malia's like, I want to die. Like, Malia's like, I wish, I crave death. I don't want to do this at all. I don't want to actually discuss like how large of a print it is or any of the other questions that anyone might have about this. Like, no, thank you.
Right.
She's like, Ronnie, I'm so sorry. I really don't know how it happened. The upholsterer is like, says they're going to try and fix it. And Ronnie's like, we'll figure it out. Like, I'm sure they'll be able to fix it. It is so funny. She's like, how are my plants? And Malia is holding a dying fern in her hands.
Right. Of course she is.
Do you tell her?
No.
Malia's like, plants are fine. It's only the chair.
Correct.
Ronnie laughs and laughs and laughs. And she's like, okay, I mean, the plants are the priority anyway, so no worries.
Cool.
Malia hangs up the phone and she's like, oh, great. So the plants are the priority anyways. And this one is done. So she gets off the phone and she goes to Irma and she's like, we have to replace the plant.
Yeah.
They start Googling. Stagwort ferns are not only hard to find, they are difficult to get on short notice.
Right. Well, that my thought was going to be go to a nursery first.
Oh, like a plant nursery?
Yeah.
I was like, what are they going to get at a nursery?
Get something for the baby. Distraction. Ezra needs something. He
go there and be like, can you fix
attention. This? Yeah, just to, yeah. Like a genius for plants.
Yeah, I like that plan. I think it's a good plan. Not what they do.
Thank you.
They're like, we need to find a place to buy one of these. They like eat dinner that evening. The house is like now a prison. The fun is gone.
Of course it is.
No one's having a good time. Except for Ezra, who's still having a great time.
To be a baby in this world.
I know. The next day, the upholsterer calls. She cannot fix the chair.
Of course she can't.
Because the chair was not waterproofed at all. You're making a face. What does the face mean?
Well, that's on Ronnie then.
Is it?
I mean, it's still not ideal. But I feel like if you live in a seaside home and you have water-sensitive furniture that is capable of being waterproofed and you do not waterproof it, and then it suffers water damage, I don't know. It feels like not getting Apple Care, but in a more high-stakes way.
Yeah, and most fabric is waterproofed to like some degree. The upholsterer is like, there's no way for us to fix this. I'm so sorry. But like the only thing we could do is bleach it. And we're concerned that if we bleach it, it will just bleach the stain lighter than everything else. Right. And so it will still be there.
Right.
So now you have a stamped chair and a dying plant. And Ronnie returns tomorrow.
Panic at the disco and also in every part of this California home.
You're still on the phone with the upholsterer. Do you have anything else you'd like to ask her?
Yeah, can we stamp it more?
What do you mean?
Like, can you just stamp some other shit onto it too? So it's like an abstract painting, kind of, and not just, some other shapes.
Make it art. You're trying to get like a tattoo cover up done for your stamped chair.
Exactly that.
What other designs can you make with this?
Yeah. I think you could make a lot. A butterfly.
God damn it.
Just saying, there's a lot to work with if you think about,
if you think outside the box.
Yeah, if you Yes, and.
Yeah. Malia is like, how much is it going to cost to replace the chair?
Right. Also a good question.
And the furniture person is like, I can give you the name of the guy who made it.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign at all. So Malia calls that man. Would you like to guess how much this chair is worth?
Oh, God. Okay. Definitely like 1,500 or above.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah. I would like you to know that I'm imagining that the person they call is Aiden from Sex and the City.
Yeah, that's correct. It's him. He's wearing his full denim outfit. And he's like, what? It is a $4,000 chair.
Yeah, of course it is. Mm-hmm. Why would it be anything under than 4,000 United States dollars?
Why would a chair be anything less than 4,000 United States dollars?
Less than that.
That's a normal amount for a chair. Malia calls the plant store. She's like, how much does it cost to replace this fern? They're like $150. She's like, done.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
You agree? You think this is good?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still would have tried resuscitating the old fern at the plant.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They drive an hour in traffic to get to this plant store. They take the old fern. They show the man this fern, and he goes, oh, yeah, that's a goner. And they're like, sick.
Oh, okay.
They get a new fern. They put the fern into the old fern's little pocket thing.
Right.
They drive very carefully back, and they put it back on the wall.
Okay.
Malia's like, this does not look the same to me. Like, it looks like a different plant, but at least it's something.
Well, you can make it look closer.
She tries.
You can trim it. Okay.
She does. And it gets close, but she's like, she's been looking at this plant so closely for 2 days that she's like, I don't know. She also, when they return with the plant, you know when you're like gone from your house for like a few hours and you return and you like notice things that you didn't notice before?
Yeah.
She returns and she's like, this place is kind of a mess. Like having a kid and 2 adults who are living like they're on vacation has made this place depreciate in value by like half of its capital.
Boy. Yeah.
Stuff everywhere. Crumbs.
Oh.
Malia is like, we have to tidy. They go to bed that night just like stressed, tossing and turning, just like the print of Malia's vulva shining in the moonlight on the chair.
Poetry.
When Ronnie returns, she looks great. Her skin's glowing. She has a new hat. She and her husband are so happy to see them. She's relaxed.
I love that for her, for however long it lasts.
Malia can tell that she like sees the mess, but is like intentionally ignoring it, which Malia appreciates.
Sure. That's family.
Veronica is like circling the first floor, checking the plants. And she's like, wow, you did such a good job. Like this plant, the one they just replaced, was really struggling last week. Like you can't even tell. It looks great.
Yeah.
And Malia's like, thank you so much. I'm very good at taking care of plants.
Especially staghorn ferns. Mm-hmm. I'm an expert.
And they go home.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like it just occurred to me that the real person who should have been called in is the orchid guy.
To deal with the plant?
Yeah, I feel like he would have known what to do here.
He probably would have.
Saved us.
Connects all of these people together.
But aside from that really relevant realization, I'm feeling relieved a little bit, but mostly still on edge.
The next day, they're at home, and Malia's phone rings, and it's Ronnie.
Yeah, of course it is. See?
Malia answers it, and Ronnie's like, dude, the chair is so bad. Ronnie's like, this isn't a stain. This is an exact replica of like your entire labia. And Malia's like, I know, I'm so sorry. I just like sat on it in my swimsuit. I didn't know it wasn't waterproof. And Ronnie's like, of course it wasn't waterproof. It's a regular chair. It's a part of a custom made like matching set.
I guess.
There's a pause, and Ronnie's like, you know, I'm not even mad. It's just that my husband is really upset about this.
Okay. Now I care so much less.
What do you do?
Apologize. You know, profusely. Mm-hmm. And then not offer to, well, if it were me in this scenario, I probably would, like an idiot, offer to replace it. But as a person who is advising these people who don't know me, what I would suggest that somebody else do in this scenario is ask something a little more general. Like, you know, is there anything we can do to help make it right? What would help make him feel better? So that if the thing that is desired is for, you know, your cousin with the rich husband really does want you on your city employee salary to buy a $4,000 chair, that they have to say it.
Malia needed your advice, because what Malia says is, look, I'm happy to get the chair replaced if that's what it's going to take to make this right.
No, you're not.
And Veronica's like, I do think that would make this right. When Malia tells Irma this, Irma is not happy.
Yeah.
Irma is like, It is not our fault they bought a $4,000 chair. It's not our fault that they let us stay in the primary suite. She's like, it is our fault. Royal we. It is our fault that you stamped your vagina onto their chair.
Sure.
But, like, is that a $4,000 mistake for us? Really?
I just don't think that it is. And I think that framing it as such is inconsiderate, even though the facts are what the facts are. I get it, sure. But I think that if you can't zoom out beyond yourself for 1 second to think, hey, I'm rich. They have city shut up. Grow up, in fact.
Malia is like, we ruined it. And Irma is like, yeah, but we don't have $4,000 to spend on chairs.
Exactly.
Irma is like, if they want to do a cost analysis of what kind of chair we could buy and then us pay them that, I'm happy to do that.
Well, that's now we're...
And Malia's like, she's my cousin.
Yeah.
Malia calls the guy, Aiden, who made this chair. And he's like, listen, the chair was made out of a very specific pink Moroccan rug.
Okay.
That had been bleached. So all the dye had receded behind the fabric. That's why they can't fix it.
Got it.
There's no way that we can recover the chair that they have. He's like, at this point, you might as well just get a new one.
Okay.
And Malia, she's trying really hard to be a grown-up, but she starts crying.
Of course.
Because she's like, it's a $4,000 chair, and I just sat on it in my swimsuit. I made this terrible mistake. It was just an accident. I'm so sorry, but I do not have $4,000.
Also, how many stupid things do rich people do while drinking?
Yes.
This is in the grand scheme of things, this is negligible, if you ask me.
And Aiden, the furniture man, is like, let me see what we can do.
Okay. Thanks, Aiden.
He calls her back a few hours later, and he's like, I can do it at cost for $2,500.
Okay. That's very nice of him to say.
Do you do it?
I mean, yeah, and I hate every minute of it. Yeah.
You do?
I do, yeah.
Why?
Because if I don't, the guilt will eat away at me.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't know, I also don't have a baby. So I feel like my answer is being influenced by the fact that I don't have to pay for baby things.
Yeah.
And so my relationship to the amount of money is different than it would be.
Your disposable income is higher. Yeah. Than if you had a baby.
Sure. Yes. Okay. I say thank you, and then I call Malia back, and I say, hey, I talked to Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a good mood. He's back with Carrie. And so...
So he'll do it for cost.
We really want to make this right, but as you know, I work XYZ job, and so finances are tight at the moment. And so if we could do a kind of split, that would be a lot more feasible for me and my lovely partner, Irma. But if not, would you consider, I think I would start there and just...
This requires a level of confrontation that Malia does not have. That bone does not exist in her body. So she says, yes, $2,500 is fine. We will pay that.
Oy, okay.
It takes 6 months for the chair to be made.
Okay.
And finally, it's done. And she gave it to Ronnie, and Ronnie was very happy to have her chair back. And it was super awkward between them for a while, but now they just call it Vagina Gate, and they have moved on.
Sure.
We are at the end. How do you feel?
I'm annoyed. I feel like we should eat the rich. That's how I feel. As ever. Marx was right. Mm-hmm. And if we listened to him, none of us would have been in this scenario. Not Malia, Ronnie, Irma, and least of all, not poor Ezra, who probably didn't have as exciting a toy arsenal as he could have, if not for Vagina Gate.
Whose side are you on?
Irma.
Why Irma?
Unequivocally. Yeah, she has sense. She's trying to look out for their future and not bending to the, I think, quiet pressure that wealth can exert, which I understand. And also, I think it's important that there be somebody in the room who is not as threatened, or, not as
easily swayed. Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree with all of that. Since we talked about morals up top, do you think that there's a moral to this story? What's the moral here? Channel your own mother. What's the moral to this story?
Waterproof your furniture. That's it. That's all I got. That is the biggest moral here, because
that is the moral here.
Everything could have been avoided. Waterproof your furniture and keep staghorn ferns in Australia. Those
on
are
the trees where they belong.
Where they belong. Don't bring things out of Australia and then get surprised when they cause mayhem.
Wow. Would you like the final update that I have for you?
I would love it.
The final update I have is that once the new chair arrived, Veronica asked Malia if she would like to keep the stamped chair for herself. And she said yes. And now it is her little family heirloom, and it has been years, and it still has that perfect, just absolutely perfect print on it.
Oh, okay. That's perfect, and I can't wait to see it in exhibit one day. That's incredible.
Hannah, thank you so much for coming on Normal Gossip. It was a delight to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking me on this ride.
What a journey.
Thank you for listening to Normal Gossip. If you have a gossip story to share with us, email us at normalgossip@defector.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 2679-GOSSIP. If you love this podcast and want us to keep making it, become a friend or a friend of a friend at supportnormalgossip.com. You can follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at normalgossip. You can follow Kelsey on all social media at McKinney-Kelsey. This podcast was produced by Alex Sujong Laughlin. Diana Moskovitz is our story editor. Justin Ellis is Defector's projects editor. Jasper Wang and Sean Kuhn are Defector's business guys. Tom Lay is our editor-in-chief. Jae Towle Vieira is our production assistant. Dan McQuaid runs our merch store, which you can find at normalgossip.store. Tara Jacoby designed our show art. Thanks to the rest of the Defector staff. Defector Media is a collectively owned subscriber-based media company. Normal Gossip is a proud member of Radiotopia. Normal Gossip is hosted by Kelsey McKinney. I'm Lex, and remember, you did not hear this from me.